So I guess this video will be a little farm repair blog on a animal barn that is starting to come down. It was built in about the 70s with an older structure. And I'd say it's got some weak points. It's lasted this long. We can see it's starting to come down. So we're doing what we can to fix it. It's going down at the back. And so real quick in Fusion, I'll show what I've drawn up here. What we've got is a bracket that a 6x6 cedar post will slide into. Once that was created, it's too thick for me to bend on anything I've got. So we've got we sent it off to Send on this project. Unfortunately, I couldn't bend it all the way because if you look at their bend requirements, it would crash into their CNC bender. So we did shorten it up some and resend it and got it, I believe, at 75 degrees on both sides. So we'll see what that looks like in the shop today. I haven't seen the part, but they did come in. And then we're gonna weld rebar. So we're gonna do 3 pieces of 5/8 rebar, I believe 18 inches long. And I've created this spacer. I'll cut 2 of those out on the CNC table to help me weld or hold those in straight alignment going down. So I can weld that rebar up to the base plate so we can fix our barn to strap those cedar posts to on the bottom and get them concreted in. I started this project by using my homemade bender to take the post brackets from a 75-degree to a 90-degree angle. While this benchtop bender wasn't intended for this thick of material, it is time for an upgrade, so it was worth the risk to test its limits. It also worked out that the half-inch radius seemed to align with the radius on the part. The bender only suffered minor warping on the bottom plate, certainly a benefit to this style of bender when you can bend flanges with relatively small base plate size and not crash the flange into the tool itself. Not to mention the cost and how easy it is to make yourself. With the brackets bent, I moved on to cutting the rebar using a portaband. Then I beveled one end to prepare for welding. And finally I cleaned off the mill scale where needed to ensure a good bond to the bracket side. Alright, before we weld these up, we're going to create a jig. And they'll be these are going to set into the wet concrete. So your 6x6 cedar post goes here, flip it over, your rebar goes into the wet concrete. So you want to make sure, at least what I was reading online when you do this, is that your rebar is straight, not kind of twisted or angled, because when you go to push this in, then it'll slide to the side and you want it kind of measured in the center of, say, if you got a plumb lined up, exactly where you want this bracket to slide your 6x6 into. So what we've got here is we're going to weld up a little jig with some of the leftover rebar that'll slide. We'll line these up and then we'll slide the 3 pieces of rebar through each side or each of the holes and line it up so that they're all straight and parallel with each other coming out of the bracket. I didn't record the tack, but I had left a hole in the center of the jig plate, so tacking this side in place was much easier once aligned. Let's test out the jig. I wanted to stick weld these to ensure good penetration on both pieces of material. I decided to do this over the CNC table for the benefit of the downdraft setup. that one where it's a little bent from the factory cut there, so we'll just push it down, saw it off, and then we can slide our jig off. If you enjoyed the farm content, let me know in the comments below. From my shop to yours, this is Eric's Mark, and thanks for watching.